Sandra, a lot to get into with this, and you've got the perfect guest.
Yeah.
We've got the perfect guest to talk about it with.
He's here, retired NYPD inspector and Fox News contributor Paul Mauro, who reported on this back in early February. We'll get your thoughts on the speeding bride in moments. First, this is an incredible story. Oh, the irony.
Yeah, what a turnaround. So Sam Antar, as Eric mentioned, was arrested for a financial fraud himself about 40-something years ago, the infamous Crazy Eddie case that he was part of the architecture of. But that said, he subsequently, after pleading and testifying on behalf of the government, went to work for the government, helping them make white-collar cases. So he knows what he's talking about. He brings this thing to me on my Ops Desk blog, and he lays it out, and he's got documents, and it was very compelling. It's very hard to argue that, to me at least, to my eyes, the evidence that he's uncovered here really looks like there's a pattern of obfuscation, stuff that she has signed and notarized that does not seem to be accurate. And so the story's been bubbling up. And then when Laura Ingraham breaks it nationally, it gets attention. And as you mentioned, it's been referred to DOJ for a criminal referral. And that is no joke. That is the top of the prosecutorial food chain. She's going to have to answer this out.
And you were on this very early as well with your Substack. If we can pull up call for number 1 right here. You had the headline, Sunday report, Letitia James scandal is the New York Attorney General guilty of exactly what she sued Donald Trump for. You then go into the details of what she's potentially accused of now. So what's it like for you to now see that there are potential criminal charges being referred to DOJ when you had this a couple months ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's gratifying that it's getting attention, and we have to be careful. Look, she's a public figure, I get that, but she gets her chance to answer this out. There hasn't even been a complaint or an indictment, so, you know, she might have answers. But as I said, it's really, really compelling, and I have to give credit to Sam Antar, because he just kept digging away on this. People have thrown all kinds of shade at him here. Oh, you're working for the Trump administration. All of that's completely not true. He hasn't worked for the government in a long, long time. But there were two really salient aspects of this that, if you have any kind of an investigatory mind, you have to say to yourself, there looks like there's some real smoke here. She's claimed these Virginia houses, at least one of them, as her primary residence when she's the Attorney General. In fact, some of that paperwork was filed when she was about to bring the case against Donald Trump. So that took real chutzpah. So the other thing, though, and I think this is real trouble, is that her Brooklyn residence, she has a residence in Brooklyn that she has repeatedly claimed over the course of the ownership that it's only 4 residences. Why? 5 or above is commercial, and that's going to be a higher rate. And so she's always claimed through a series of paperwork filings that it's only 4 residences, but the New York City certificate of occupancy, which is the determining factor, says that it's 5. And you got to say to yourself something else. She's been on a government salary. Where's she getting all of this property? I mean, you know, she's quite the real estate tycoon.
Seems like a significant detail in all of this. You mentioned that this was broken on the Ingraham angle last night. Here's Jonathan Turley on the criminal referral against James. Listen.
This is really for James, the very case that she most famously brought. She insisted that these technicalities matter and that the powerful should not be given a free pass. Well, that bill has come due in this case. She's going to have to deal with this filing. I'm honestly just not sure how you defend against this unless you say that these are fraudulent documents.
So what are we talking? What does this mean for James?
So exactly what Jonathan said there. He's exactly right. It's precisely what she brought against Donald Trump, which is to say that you overinflated the value of your properties in order to get more mortgages than your building was worth. Her Virginia property, one of them, by her own disclosure, which you have to disclose as a public figure, as a public employee, she puts it around $150,000. It's mortgaged, according to the paperwork, over $500,000. Now, it's not at the level of what Donald Trump did, because in Donald Trump's case, you're talking about buildings on Fifth Avenue, et cetera. But her building is at least 4 to 5 times overinflated for the purposes of mortgages. And some of the mortgages are in the public record, some of them are not. They look like phantom mortgage. The whole thing is fugazi, and you got to look into it. They're going to have to go into the Virginia records, the feds are, drop subpoenas, do search warrants, pull out all kinds of stuff. And there's one big question left, I think, that a lot of us are wondering, which is, who's living in the Virginia buildings?
Wow.
And are they paying rent? And are you reporting that rent? Are you paying the taxes on that rent? There's a lot here. And
it's probably out of the statute of limitations at this point, but you were saying like decades ago, she bought a property and put her dad down as her husband, essentially.
When she was about 20, so we're going back a ways, she put down that her father was her husband for the purposes of getting her first mortgage, apparently. And apparently there is some financial advantage to that I'm not clear on. Excuse me. But She's never been married, according to what we can discern here. And as a result, it does look like her father went down as her spouse about 30 years ago.
A lot of smoke. We'll see if there's some fire, right?
Wow, a lot there. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you both.
Good to see you, Paul.
Oh, speeding bride. Should she be let off the hook?
I wasn't there.
Nice. Spoken like a true pro. All right.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.